Welcome to Yerushalmi Peah Daf Lamed. This is going to be a little bit of a lumdish one, but remember when we started, I told you that Divrei Torah Anim Makam Achar Bashir Makam Achar, like Chazal say. So this is one where if you're holding the sugya in Chulin, in the Bavli, which talks about the sugya, you'll appreciate it more, and you'll also, if you're holding in Rashi there, you'll appreciate the lumdus of Rashi. But if not, just hear me out, and you'll see. There's a lot of brilliance in how to actually read this Mishnah, and you see Rashi's succinct ability to look at the Mishnah and literally translate the words and bring out what the Mishnah is saying. So we're in the Ozvada print. This is Parak Shlishi, and the Mishnah is Halacha Hey. So it says Amolcher Kalchei Ilan b'toch sadeo. This is the whole case we're going to talk about. If you sell Kalchei Ilan, which sounds like baby stalks of trees, okay, in the middle of your own field, so there's a problem here. Who gives the Peah? No same Peah mikol echad v'yachad. You have to give Peah for each one. And Amar Yehuda says, meaning the buyer, seemingly, that's what it's saying, the buyer has to give Peah for each one that he bought by himself. So there's a couple of reasons for that. And Rabbi Yehuda says, Bizman shelo shir ba'al asadeh, if the Amos eyewitness is true, that's Bizman shelo shir ba'al asadeh. That's only when the owner of the field didn't leave over any of the trees himself. Avalim shir ba'al asadeh, but if he leaves over, who knows same Peah l'kol, then he's m'chuyev to give Peah on everything. The Gemara has a little bit of a discussion about whether it's kishis chaliktzer, whether the seller began to harvest the property or not. Ayin Sham in the Gemara. So basically, you have a couple of things. So what is Kalchei Ilan? So you have a couple of opinions. The simple reading is that it's young fruit trees that are in his field. Okay? And the Marah folder, for example, he says Kalchei Ilan means tree trunks. Okay? And the Rosh Shrilia says that no, it actually means tree sprouts. And this is talking about young tree sprouts that come near older trees. And because this is a type of tree that's sold to be uprooted from the field, so it's basically a nursery, these ones, so therefore they're not considered part of the field, so therefore the buyer has to give Peah. So Rashi doesn't really say it, but there's three main problems with this simple pshat, and that is like this, that and this is the Rashi's pshat that I just quoted right now. So that's like this. The word Kalchei Ilan, according to the simple pshat, the way I just explained it, doesn't seem to have to say baby trees or whatever they are. It could just say Ilanos, like all the other Mishnahs talk about trees. So that's one problem. The other problem is that betoch sadeh usually means a grain field, not other trees. So what's going on over here? Then the third thing of liktzar, again, usually means grain. Remember we talked about the Rav and Peah that has different expressions. So liktzar usually refers to grain, ketzira. Okay? So the Rashi in Chulin, which is on Kuf Lamed Ches Amad Aleph. So he says that Kalchei Ilan means sprouts, and it means they sprouted on their own without being intentionally planted because of all these problems. And the Mishnah is not talking about an orchard at all. It's talking about B'toch Sadeo, a grain field. These trees actually came inside the grain field, and the owner doesn't want them here. So therefore, he sells them and says, "Get them out of my field." It's probably a really good price. And so therefore, that's why the buyer has to give the Peah for each of the trees separately. And that's what's going on over here. And then Yehuda says that the owner of the field left over even one tree for himself, then he has to give a portion of Peah for all the trees, because again, he's showing that he actually does want it. So Rashi says he leaves over a portion of Peah from the grain in the field, and he potters it on the tree. And there's a lot of explanation there if you look at Tosa Rush. But anyway, the point is that you see that Rashi was a Pashtan, and he read the words and he said, what does this mean? Now, Rashi over there is not so sure what our Yerushalmi said. And we talked about earlier if Rashi had access to Yerushalmi, and he probably had very limited access. He quotes Yerushalmi in Brachos, and he quotes Yerushalmi of Sukkah, but not many other pshatim. And Rashi's pshat in how he looks at a sugya seems to be, that the Bavli certainly has a right to argue with the Yerushalmi, and each sugya is taken, by its own. But you see the brilliance of how Rashi read that because of all the problems with the Mishnah, and why he therefore went with the simplest pshat, and that's Kalchei Ilan, these tree sprouts. Thank you for joining, and have a great day.